Live at the Supreme Court. As you can see, the people are gathering for the case between PDP, um, Labour Party, and the APC, trying to get in. For some reason, they were not allowing cameramen to go in. So we now are deciding to stay here. And the court is not yet sitting, but we are outside here now. So for many of you who are joining us live, just confirm that you can hear us loud and clear. And please endeavor to share this. This is a live stream directly from the Supreme Court of Nigeria for the election petition between Peter Obi, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, and the APC, that is Shettima and Chief Bola Tinubu. What are we expecting today? Today is not the day of judgment. It is basically for the court to hear the arguments from the petitioners and also and the defense um, from the APC as well. Once that is done, then they will eventually give a date for judgment. So for now, that is what it is. We are now live from the APC as well. Once that is done, then they will eventually give a date for judgment. So for now, that is what it is. We will be getting you the people who are being accredited in terms of the legal rather the lawyers. Before now, we saw Chief Emeka Etiaba, who's just been accredited and he's just gone in. And we have other people also being accredited. Sadly, there is a lot of people, especially the media, um, colleagues, who are not allowed to go in. So let's quickly zoom in and see and give you views of those. Now, let's also explain something to us. For those who may be wondering what is happening here, there is a scanner at the door where you have the DSS guys, that is the security agents, and every single person getting into the Supreme Court, exactly the way it was done within the appeal, within the appeal court, every single person going in must be scanned. That vehicle you see there is scanner. Let's show you. You see, there is where you have the where they scan things like your bags, and the other side is where people obviously go in from. So, if we pan left, we'll see most of our colleagues are here, and you know, a lot of people are here. So we are doing this for every one of us on this platform. And if you haven't subscribed to this platform, by all means, do subscribe and share this video. Join us live here. We are live and probably the only one live now, um, trying to tell the world what is happening here in Abuja. Let's also turn around and show you the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is indeed a very, very wonderful place. It has a very fantastic scenery. All right, so you can look at the whole place, and these are lawyers coming in, and we have people driving in there. It's a very serene environment too, right? So we are here. So if you don't mind, if you're joining us, if you don't mind, you can tell us where you are joining us from. Just drop your location. Drop your location. What do you expect the judges to do? What do you expect the judges to do? Tell us where you are watching from. Please do like the stream, like this stream, like the video, and do not forget to subscribe. By all means, do tell us where you are watching from. Tell us where you are watching us from. Tell us where you are watching us from. Drop that in the comment section. Like the stream. Like the stream. So, court will start in the next couple of minutes. And as the court starts, we will be giving you more updates as to what is happening. Some of us have gone inside the court. So, what we will then do is we will be giving us information with those in the court as to what is happening. But here, which is even better to be outside the court, because in the court you are not allowed to have the camera in. But one thing we don't know is if eventually, like was done in the case of appeal court, if we will have people, or rather media, maybe the day of the judgment, coming to uh, report live from inside the court. So as it is now, we're going to be moving location. D, D. Okay. So you can see that's a beautiful scenery, and we can now see what is happening in the court now. As this is ongoing, we are taking comments from many of you. Anyanwu Nwakihe, you're watching us from the Cameroon, and we have Ade Suleiman watching us from the United Kingdom. We have Michael Chico watching from Thailand. We have Godwin Mamodu. I don't know where Godwin Mamodu is watching us from, right? So we will be taking some of your comments. Let me go through where these people are, and obviously there is a slight commotion in the um, accreditation of people. That's still not possible. Okay. So, so Maz is okay walking down once more again to stay. So you can, guys, you can see me once more just to bring it clearer to every one of us. This is us being at the appeal court, at the Supreme Court. So this is us being at the Supreme Court, people. What we are doing currently is to wait. Some of the principles, we do not know if Atiku and P2B will be coming in, but we have seen some of the legal counsels, legal representatives be inside the court already. So we don't know who is going to come in. But the moment they come in, we would be telling you guys who is with us here. So, whatever that it is, people, just stay with us. We are here in Abuja live, and this is Mazes, okay? Here live in Abuja reporting. Like I said before, in case if you're just joining us, most of the cameramen are not allowed to go inside the court, which is a total departure from what we had from the appeal court. On Friday, as I had my live stream, I was on the Supreme Court, and I was told categorically that there was no list, only to come in this morning to say that, oh, there were some few lists, but now those lists were pure journalists who had nothing to do with camera, and which many of us here find a little bit absurd. What is the essence of them just writing text? They are, Nigerians. Many of you love visuals, and this visual is what we may not be getting. But there is an alternative. We have made our case, and they've said that we may not go into the court, but we should hold on after a while that we may be allowed to go to do some takeaways from the court. But it is been more than how many minutes now, and we don't know how long we are going to wait. The court supposed to start by 9. Now we have about 29 minutes, if that serves me right. So within the next 29 minutes, we expect that the court will start. But I can tell you categorically that we haven't seen any of those principles coming, be it from the APC, the PDP, the APM, or the Labour Party. For clarification here, this case today um, it's a joint sitting. That means it has the APC, the PDP, the Labour Party, and the APM. So they are going to make their cases. They filed their appeals and to the Supreme Court. Now, orally, they were going to make their representations. After their representations, there may be argument and counter argument. We don't know, and there will be adoption. If they finish today, we believe that if they finish today, that is a very big caveat and a very big conditionality. If they finish today, we will then have them um, give a date that will be suitable for the judgment to be given. And this is where we are at the moment, right? So if that happens, then we'll be having a date that would be suitable. Um, you know, we don't know, but that's obviously we do believe that that's going to happen before the 17th of November or around that time. But be that as it may, we know that before December 2023, there must be a clear, definite answer as to who wins this case. So, people, stay with us. We will be with you, and definitely, you know, we'll definitely be with you and to bring you updates. There is a lot of distractions also from my colleague and trying to understand what's happening at my back. Okay, so people, let me know where you are watching us from, and please, please, please share this stream, right, with your friends, family, in the WhatsApp groups where you are. Do not forget to like and share. Now, for those of you who may also want to support us, it's also possible to do that. You can use the super sticker or the super chat to do that. We do appreciate your support. Thank you very much. We'll not go off. We will still be here until we can update you as to what is happening. So I am still Mazes, okay? For now, going behind the scene as usual. As to what is happening. So I am still Mazes,
Let him come. Let him come. For you, You know what you would have done? You bring down your tripod so that you go on the low angle smoke. You can get it exactly to your head, and because the head is
Just because you see that.
No. It's
Okay,
I just because I wanted to leave permanently with it. So.
So people, you may be hearing the voice, or rather the voices of my colleagues at the background. So what you what that means is that many of us here are not happy, right? Be it from channels, from AIT, from Danger Media, from TVC, we are all outside here. So do not think it's an Danger Media thing. Danger Media is an international media company headquartered in London, and they have offices in Nigeria. So um, you know the accreditation was one click on. I don't want to say what are things about those who at the wee hours of the night have gone in to submit names. We'll leave that for another day. So tomorrow we will help to ensure that this does not happen, because on the day the judgment will be delivered, we will definitely um, sort these things out. And they have apologized, and we don't need to take whatever happened now public, but just bear in mind that some things are happening here. So let me take some of you who are watching us as also where you're joining us from. So we have Diamond watching from Belgium, and we have Michael Chukujelu watching from Philippines. Um, Best Peace is watching from Germany, watching from Tasmania, Australia. Best Peace, thank you guys, thank you guys, thank you. We'll keep bringing you the best. Just show us some love, keep liking it, like the stream, like the video, and share with others. So, what do you guys think? What do you guys think the Supreme Court will do? Okay, how are you? Everybody do okay. Okay, I'll have Odile watching from London, and we have Height Walk watching from Ghana. Wow! So it appears every Nigerian um, is here. Would you mind speaking to us? My brother? So I'm live. Hold on. Sorry, I have just stated. I have one of the legal team from Mr. P2B, whom you know very well. That is Otopupu. Otopupu is one of the lawyers here, and let us ask Otopupu what we are expecting. So just wait a moment. Uh, so he's on a call. He will just finish quickly, and we will find out what is happening. So you can see him here. That is Vincent Otopupu. He will be speaking to us in a moment. You know. So you're good there. You're good.
Don't ask me a question about the matter in court.
No.
It's too unfair to speak on it.
Well, uh, Vincent Otopupu,
Yes.
one of the legal representations of the Labour Party.
Bone crusher.
Oh, the bone crusher himself.
Yes.
So we just want to find out what, obviously you are at the Supreme Court today.
Yes.
You've seen how things are going.
Yes.
And is it only Labour Party that is going to be, have the matters heard today? Or, just tell the viewers
No,
what
there
is.
are two appeals. One from Labour Party and the presidential candidate, His Excellency Mr. P2B, and the other one from Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and his political party, the People's Democratic Party. So today they will be dealing with two appeals, arising from consolidated judgment of the Election Protection Tribunal Court, the Court of Appeal, sitting as Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal sitting as the Election Protection Tribunal Court. So they have two separate appeals. Even though the judgment was consolidated, but they maintain their differences and they are separate appeals. Today here there are two separate appeals, which the Supreme Court will hear. I know. So there are also motions on the part of the PDP to adduce fresh evidence.
Okay.
It's also pending. So
So
we wait to
that motion will be heard today. With regards to the issue of Chicago State University, I believe.
I won't comment on it. The
Yeah.
matter is pending in Supreme
Yes.
Court, and the Supreme Court matter is to be heard today.
Yes.
So, but the matter motion is pending. So, you left for the discussion of the Supreme Court to proceed with the main appeal or to take the motion first. It is their exclusive preserve and their discretion to do that. So, we don't need to
Sure.
comment on it. Yes.
Sure, but let's basically comment on procedure. How is the procedure going to be after the hearing today? Do we expect to have a date for judgment,
Of
or
course.
how does that?
Supreme Court is a policy court.
Hmm.
They have handled appeals before that they will finish hearing adoption of written addresses by counsel. They will rise and come back and deliver judgment
The same day.
the same day.
So you mean
And in some
Nigeria?
cases, they can just deliver judgment and declare their position, and they reserve their reasons. They will tell you that they will give their reasons on so and so dates. So they are, they are the policy court and the highest court in the land.
So as a policy court, are you trying to say that Nigerians may even be surprised that today judgment might be given?
Of course, it has happened before. It has happened before.
Wow.
Yes, they can take off. You just say, this is an appeal.
Yeah.
It's not a trial court
Yeah.
where you call witnesses and all those stuff. No.
Yeah.
It just parties have filed all their processes, written addresses. It just brief of argument. It's just for the parties to adopt them. And once it's adopted, they will give a date for judgment. Parties will go and come back that day. Or in some cases, they will give judgment therein. They will just come back and give judgment and give their reasons later. And the law allows it.
And so that it doesn't become sub judice, I would have wanted to ask you, in what direction would you think that will go? But let me leave it to that. Thank you very much. Thank you,
my
very much.
friend.
So, guys, you've had it. So let me speak to my good brother. Okay. Thank you, man. Yeah, nice to see you, sir. Violent person. You're a violent person, so come and speak the violent space. So, guys, I just spoke to Vincent, one of the legal counsel to the Labour Party, and he made it very clear that we should not be surprised if judgment is given today, that it has happened before, and obviously you heard that from him. But we are hopeful and are still watching out what is going to happen. So here you can see, I believe, the DG of Federal Radio Corporation, or is it that is okay, Mr. Okechukwu there. That is the one on red. Sorry, Osita Okechukwu. Yes, the one who is on red there. You can see him there. So normally, you know that he is of the APC and he has come to give moral support to the APC. But as it is now, it appears he also was not allowed access into the court. Hence, he is hanging. Maybe they might use some powers from above to get him to get inside the court. So, people, it's getting interesting. The die is almost cast, and we are here live at the uh, Supreme Court of Nigeria in Abuja, where the matters of election petition tribunal will be heard. So stay with us, people. Stay with us. Let's just wait and see how this is going to be playing out. And there is someone that I would also want to speak to. Daily Trust, right? Where is Azu? Which is? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Is his name there in the list? No. Wow. So, guys, you know, I understand this is Atiku is wasting his time, Pastor Ebubechi. I don't think it is wise to say that anybody is wasting their time. You know, let me see if Mr. Osita will speak to me and people. Osita Okechukwu, if he's going to speak to us, then I would um, let me accost him and see if he's going to agree to speak to us.
Vice President.
So we are going to get people to speak to us. So just hold on with us. Is it the vice president coming in? So we now have the vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. No. Yes. Alhaji Shettima is coming in now. Uh, Oguche, Kekimesa, Igekwitu nine. I'm live, so if you don't mind, let me quickly mic you. I just landed. Okay. Okay. So, okay, he's here. That's your back here. Why don't I? You want to greet him first? Let me greet him. Okay. So it's fine. That's him pulling up. Please let me greet him. Okay. First. Well, that's his car over there. That's his car over there. They are just stopped again. The police are trying. Okay. Okay. So people, he says he wants to welcome Shettima before he can speak to us. That is where we are. You know, to some extent, I think I'm actually happy that we are where we are at this moment without necessarily being inside the court. So this is, I think it's Femi Bajabiamila that is coming now. And that's Ribadu and Femi Bajabiamila. So people, that's Nuhu Ribadu and Femi Bajabiamila. But as usual, you can see the security are just running already to cover us. So, so we have the, you know, that's Nuhu Ribadu just walking in to the court now, and Femi Bajabiamila. Right. See, now he's greeting Mr. Uche Okechukwu, the man whom I wanted to speak to before now. So let's see, they are going to obviously go through that security. I believe an exception was made by self-recognition that no one actually said or asked if their names were on the list. So the lawyers are also not happy. The lawyers are also not happy. You can hear that because there are other cases going on at the appeal court, at the Supreme Court, that they were not allowed access to. So when them, so we can let's get by the side here. Okay, at least let me. It's fine here. Let me get. No, I'll put I'll put it back.
morning.
Yeah. I'll put back the microphone. Okay. Okay. Good morning, sir.
Morning, my brother.
So it is very nice to see you at the Supreme Court today.
Thank you.
Now you can see how things are so far progressing, and we just had the Femi Bajabiamila and Niho Ribadu working. You are also of the APC, and what are you expecting, and what is your message to Nigerians who are watching you live now?
As a Nigerian, most importantly, what I pray to God for our democracy to continue, that our 24 years, there should be addition, so that from one regime to the other, the people will elect leaders of the choice, and that it continues, because democracy has its own fine dividends. One is freedom, one is prosperity, one is peace and unity of any country, which dictatorship does not enhance. So if you have freedom, you can exercise your inalienable rights and your talents. So that's why I'm also happy with the opposition, His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, P2B, and others, for following the democratic route. They did not, in their own vein, say that they will resort to self-help. So for following the democratic process, I have to thank them immensely. For the outcome, it depends on my Lord Justice of the Supreme Court. They have the facts, they have the law in their hands. So I will believe in their decision, because we cannot decide for them.
Yeah.
We can't decide for them.
So while we are talking, we just had Oseloka Obaze.
We're here.
We're
here.
Ambassador.
No, hit me too much, Ambassador. See, you don't drag my hand. Sorry, sir. So
I'm happy that Nigeria is progressing from one election to the other. Nobody will doubt that from 1999 to date, that there are no improvements made. For those improvements, I thank the Nigerian people. I thank Almighty God.
You know, sorry, but you just mentioned about improvement, but many Nigerians would actually disagree with you that the 2023 election wasn't necessarily what Nigerians were promised. I mean, we had promises of having an electronic transmission, which eventually, from the argument in the Supreme at the appeal court, appears to be, oh, INEC had the right to decide how they will conduct the election, which is a total departure from what they were promised to Nigerians. And Nigerians are saying, especially the young ones, because we speak to them, we are on the street, and they're saying, if this is how election is going to be conducted moving forward, that they will stay away because they do not see any reason why they should engage, and probably their right and their will not be reflected on the outcome.
I don't think they are correct. You don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. Yes, there might be some flaws, but that does not mean to tell me today that we are over 10 governors who ordinarily, if they say they want to go to the Senate, it is a conclusive matter, could not win their constituencies. And you tell me the election had not improved. I wouldn't say so. We are an Okada rider defeated an incumbent federal house member, and today is a member of the federal house already.
And therein, exactly what you said, therein lies why the young Nigerians are saying this seemed to them to be a compromise system, because the National Assembly, the Senate that happened on the same day had no glitches, but the presidential appeared to be, it wasn't glitch free. So based on that, they are saying, yes, I agree, because in your state of Enugu, we saw where a sitting governor, couldn't.
It's not only Enugu.
It's
spread across the country.
Exactly, and we had a former governor.
It happened in several states.
Exactly,
and don't forget as well that I'm appealing to the youth because I was once a youth. We are doing this kind of shouting after the 1983 presidential elections.
Yeah.
And the election, the democracy slipped off hand. Did we profit?
So what you are in
Did
essence
anybody
saying,
tell you that the American people for over 200 and something years elected Donald Trump? What did they do? They voted for the next 4 years and voted him out. If you stampede democracy, you stampede it out of the system, and you have dictatorship, which is not as good as democracy we have already.
okay, that's a fine argument. But before I let you go, I watched one of your interview on Arise TV. I think I believe if I'm not mistaken, that was the last interview you granted to Arise TV, wherein you made a case of against Atiku that he or rather PDP for not giving the Southeast the presidency, if I'm correct. That was your position.
No, my position is basically that the PDP has a constitution. And under Section 7 of that constitution is expressly stated that power should be rotated between North and South for the peace, unity of our dear country. And that it is a convention as well that started in 1999. And His Excellency Atiku Abubakar was a beneficiary of that convention of rotation of president from North to South. Otherwise, if Umaru Shinkafi, he was also wealthy, Dr. Olusegun Saraki was also wealthy, Abubakar Rimi had all his capacity to bid, but they all willingly in 1999 buried their personal ambitions and allowed Southerners to contest. The outcome was that Chief Obasanjo became a candidate, Olufaya became a candidate, and Atiku benefited from that enterprise. And in 2014, he walked out of Eagle Square against Jonathan, that Jonathan was breaching the zoning convention, that it was the turn of the North. Pay attention.
Yes.
And joined us in APC and came third in the primaries and went back to PDP. And luckily for him, in 2018, presidential primary of the PDP, he was given no Southerner aspirant participated in the PDP primaries in Port Harcourt,
But
which was hosted by Wike. Atiku emerged. Now, when it was the turn of the South, to start with, I'm not particular. If you had given any Southerner, it could have been a case. But to zero it, the Southeast, PDP owns the Southeast. That's what I'm saying.
So in this case, but one would have expected that you Alhaji Ganduje, Alhaji Ganduje working in now, the former governor of Kano State, just working and he's just breathing.
Don't say you can't tell them that's corruption. Because what they're doing in their cave, you don't see this all of
On the
them.
man go in here, so go choice in about. Can I let my mic? Mabu no choice about. Hold on. Excuse me. Sorry.
Wait.
Okay. So that's Nigeria. No, they're refusing. They're refusing. Man, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm not saying it's impossible. Yes. You know, the temple is called.
Chief, Chief, Chief Ame, how you doing?
Artist now.
I do.
How to do?
I like you. That's one good though. Not fine.
Make I just come off like this. My friend, my brother. Ah, what did I make them do? Well, we don't come
So you guys have heard the argument of made by Chief Osita Okechukwu, but again, many, including myself, will respectfully disagree with him that because we want to keep democracy doesn't mean we have to abuse the processes that brings things to bear. Um, I'm live, so if you want to speak to me, you come live.
I went to see me do story.
anything what you could do two recommendations. First one, three recommendations on bundle and this is a 4 pieces. No, let an has let political party management go.
We are live.
We'll talk now. Because the state capture. The state capture. Okay, this is my friend. I will talk now. Today.
So, move.
Okay.
Okay. So we have with us here Chief Peter Ame. Chief Peter Ame, you're welcome to Njenje Media TV.
Thank you very much for having me.
So you are now at the Supreme Court of Nigeria to hear the case of your party, the PDP APM, against the APC Shettima Tinubu. So what's your impression so far, having been here? You can see that the security is extremely tight here. And do you think that the government is afraid of something?
I think the security is under the executive. It's not the control of the CGN or the judiciary
But they can make a request.
They can make a request, but anything directly that comes that directive for approval must come from the executive. And that's why we want to avoid something like state capture, practice space, in the sense that we must have this litigation, this litigation head and dispense with before any person should be sworn into government. It will allow for free hand. It will allow people to have confidence in the process. And if you look at what Jega said, Jega clearly said that things that must be done. And these are the things we'll be crying out even while Jega was in office, that the appointment of the INEC chairman should not be done by the president. And that's why we come with Justice Way panel, where they say this commission should be unbundled to have different facets, that those who will be responsible for political party registration should be different, those who will be responsible for election should be different, those who will be responsible for managing delineation and other activities of the commission should be different, and there should be a commission that will be responsible for electoral violence.
Sorry, let me stop you there. Doesn't it appear absurd for you to hear Professor Mahmoud Jega say the things he said? Because while he was in office, I understand during the time of was it IPAC and CUPP, you guys worked closely with him. So why those things he's now speaking about now? Why didn't he implement them?
I think that's part of the fear that the executive has so much control and interference over those commissions, because they are the appointing authority, and they are the one who also approve. Yes, I get their money from direct life charge today from the CBN directly, but it's not as effective as should be. There must be proper strengthening. What the fear is that if he's saying it because he's out of office, the person there now, Mahmoud Jega, will also say things after office because they are afraid. They don't have they believe that the executive has overbearing authority over the actions of the commission, because they appointed all members of the national commissioners. All members of the national commissioners are appointed by the president. The chairman himself is appointed by the president, and all resident electoral commissioners who are members of the commission are appointed by the president. So we must find a way to take that power away from president, so that those who are sitting down there will not be having the issue that they are breathing through their mouth to say something.
In essence, the job is for us as Nigerians, is very cut out now. That means irrespective of how these judicial decision goes at their Supreme Court. Nigerians must go back to the drawing board through the legislative arm to begin to make and demand amendments to some of these laws. Do you agree with that?
It is very important. The very cardinal things that Nigeria must do first is to make sure that the INEC, the commission himself, is unbundled. The commission is overburdened. I can tell you this because I've worked closely with
In what sense? Can you give more
unbundling is not. I'm not the first person saying this word. It was established in the Justice Tuwe panel report. And if you look at what Justice Lemu election violence report also says, is that the commission is responsible, as I speak to you, for political party registration and management. The commission is responsible, as I speak to you right now, for election conduct. The commission is also responsible. In the commission, I mean INEC, is also responsible for trying electoral violence. And that's why you see none of these things INEC is getting it 190%. No. I mean, if as election INEC been tried successfully for electoral violence. Because even when you try that, you now find out that those attorney generals of the state who belongs to parties that usually commit violence, we bring what they call nolly prosecute to take over the case and absolve it. But if we have electoral tribunal offenses commission, just like AFCC is for financial crimes, we will have an effective agency that will manage those who are committing heinous crimes against our electoral process. And then two, we will now also go for to make INEC more impartial, to make sure that a member of a political party who is elected, who is the president, because every president is a member of a political party, cannot be appointing the referee in a match where other members of the multi-party coalition of political parties will participate. So those are the things we are saying. Because if you're a member of a political party, whether you are a president or not, they say you are expected to be impartial. But you know the nature of man. The nature of man is to self-protect before you can think of others. So we must follow the justice, how they call it, justice panel, to now review that the electoral commission, the appointment must be taken away from the presidency and put in the hand of the National Assembly via the judiciary.
So finally, you are of the Labour Party, and you are here today to give support and solidarity to your party for this case. What is your expectation, and what is your message to Nigerians who are watching you right now across the globe?
My expectations are very clear. First, the Court of Appeal decisions didn't go down well with me for one, because there was active action that INEC even went out of that PEP without even a warning to say you promised Nigerians. The confidence that was built up to that election was because INEC made a promise that there will be a direct transmission of electoral results. And that is why, if you look at what happened, new voters were plenty. A lot of new voters came in because they were encouraged and they now had interest to participate in the electoral process. Because people were not, there was voter apathy because people believe at the end of the day, INEC will announce the result of their own. That is their perception. But INEC now came up and said, no, don't think like that. Come and participate. And we will do live transmission of results. We will do live reporting. And you can even access it as individuals and citizens of this country anywhere in the world from the portal we have as Beavers. So you leave it from Beavers, snap it, take it to IRA. That promises was made. Are you now telling me that as a father, I'll make promise to my children, I will now go back on it, and I will be so courageous without being ashamed that I have failed? There must be consequences for failed promises.
So, in essence, Nigerians must start the process of trying to institute a legal action against the INEC chairman.
The INEC chairman made promises and failed. It's obvious. Even the mouthpiece of INEC at the time, Festus Okoye, also made promises and failed. So we can't live as Nigerians and be telling ourselves lies and be living in the illusion that one day things will get better. It's an elusive sense of thinking that when we wake up, people who are put in public trust, to work in the interest of the general public, we take decisions against the general public and we keep on praying. The prayer without action is eventually not going to take us anywhere.
And finally, do you foresee a breakdown of law and order, perchance that the decision of the Supreme Court does not go the way many Nigerians who came out to vote expected that it should be?
I don't want to take it. A lot of prominent Nigerians have said that the election was compromised, even taken from Jegaward, that the electoral system, that the truth must be said, that wasn't, the true reflection of a free and fair, credible election. And when you look at Section 38, Section 39, Section 40, and Section 41, we find out that the fundamental principles that govern democracy, freedom of expression, freedom of movement, and all these things are entrenched in that constitution. So any attempt that people feel displeased by whatever decisions of government or whatever decision of any agency of government and decide to want to peacefully protest, to be able to state that their right must be given the due attention that is required, is within the ambit of the law. And that is welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Peter Ame. Thank you, Chief Peter Ame.
Thank you
Once
very
more.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can't continue like this. Nigeria should not be built on what is not working.
Abagamba.
Babu's everybody now. Mazi Chuks.
Mazi Dixon Irebu. Mazi Nnamdi Irebu. It's better you call the Mazi Nnamdi Irebu. Name another Mazi.
Before we finish the Nnamdi, other people may have thought it's a different one. Anyway.
It's all right. Nnamdi is
Nice.
not a negative name. It's a beautiful name.
Wonderful name. Spectacular name.
Yeah.
So nice to have you at the Supreme Court.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So what's your view so far? Coming in, you saw a lot of security, as usual, or did you expect anything different?
Yeah, expected anything different. First, you know, the Supreme Court shares the same environment with the Villa.
Yes.
So it's expected naturally, therefore, that the security will be a lot more stricter than what it was, and it was really. But getting here to now know that there is even a decision on, you know, strictly to follow the list and all of that before you can get entrance and all of that is the Supreme Court. We didn't expect anything less. But I thought, you know, with the kind of public interest that this has generated, and indeed that the Supreme Court, you know, being the final arbiter, should be a lot more flexible and allow the interests of the Nigerian people see justice, you know, on its journey. You know, let it not be evasive. For once, can't we just function as sane, intelligent, you know, human beings? Must we do everything like it's some secret? It's not a secret. Whatever process that we're asking for, we're here because we want the good of the nation. So the Supreme Court ought, for me, from my opinion, ought to have been a lot more flexible than what I'm seeing. But let's see how it goes. I hope that this whole processes will eventually give us justice. That's what's important. Let it give us justice. That's what the Nigerian people want.
So, so far, you have seen some prominent people, you know, go into the courts. We've seen Ganduje. We've seen your good friend Nehu Ribadu.
Yes, the chief of staff to the president too. I saw them. Of course, they are the boss. They are the big boys in town. So they naturally, of course, have access.
They're all now inside the court.
Yeah.
What is your expectation coming out? You know, what do you expect will happen in court today? I had a conversation with Vincent Otokubu, who is one of the legal representation of the Labour Party. He is of the opinion that Nigerians might even be surprised that today the Supreme Court may even deliver judgment. That is not only hearing, that they can hear and deliver judgment and say, you know, their reasons will be given later. But having followed keenly as a keen observer from the appeal court to here, what do you, as a Nigerian, expect?
Listen, the truth is that I'm a Nigerian who has lived almost all his life in Nigeria. So I'm not one of those Nigerians who eloped and eventually probably found their way back home. No, I am thoroughly based here. So I'll tell you that this is our story. The worst we have seen in Nigeria is that we had a president who the Supreme Court affirmed his presidency even when his identity and his school cert as he presented was questionable. And that president served for 8 years and nothing happened. So heaven didn't fall. You see, but this one is a peculiar case. We have a case here of integrity. We have a case of forgery here, where the #1 citizen of the nation, who is supposed to be the marketer in chief of the nation, is said to be a forger. Is said to have questionable
certificate,
educational certificate and all of that.
And so
for us, first of all, that is something that should concern all Nigerians, including their law justices. because they are Nigerians first before being judges of the Supreme Court. So that is the case here. But are we going to be surprised if the worst happens? Like you said, oh, if for instance they now wake up here and give us judgment and say, oh, they will now,
Give
revert
reasons.
to us later and all that. Well, it won't be a surprise. We have seen the worst. However, I haven't lost hope in Nigeria. We just need to uphold this value that should be resident in our heart, that this is our land. However it be in our land, we can fix it. If we are facing a situation today where we are having a forger as president, one day the constitution also provides for when his tenure will elapse. So we shouldn't give up on our nation because of a few bad eggs, a few bad criminals that have captured power. That's not what should happen to us. But however, I'm not expecting a miracle from the Supreme Court. I'm not, sincerely. I just want to hear them say that the system of election in Nigeria henceforth should be grab it and
Run.
run with it. And then you can be anything. And then they should stop harassing Yahoo Yahoo. If they uphold this, then the Yahoo Yahoo boys should be allowed to function. It's as simple as that. If we don't do that, then there's no justice in the land and I will continue to have chaos. Nigeria is a great nation. And the black community on earth will not be respected until the black man, realizes that this is the highest gathering of black people on earth. If Nigeria does not rise, Africa will not get up. And if Africa doesn't get up, the black man will not be respected. So they are not justices all themselves a duty to make a name for themselves, save the nation, and save the judiciary. The judiciary is under trial. That's the truth. Atiku has no case here. Peter B has no case here. Tinubu has no case here. The judiciary has a case. They have to tell the Nigerian people and the world that this system, as INEC gives us whenever they want to have election, is not what should be upheld. That the system we should go with is grab it and run with it, and then we'll take to chaos. And the land will now become a crime scene. That's what it will be.
That's an awful lot you've just said within this short period of time. Namdi Dixon Yorubu, it's a pleasure having you here. Let's watch and see how things will unfold. We'll probably have to speak to you more as events unfold. Thank you very much for speaking to us and to our live audience here on Ginger Media TV. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I like it.
Ginger.
And
You know,
you know the pick on now.
no, last time well, that's other people. I got to just call. So that check, that talk, I'm that putting in with one update. That is the date of the so can they call that date came out. Yeah, they did their list now.
I didn't even know they were going to do a list.
Hi there.
Good morning. The court administration told them that.
We need the opinion of the younger ones, the violent spacers.
The violence spacers.
You want to talk?
You want to do an interview?
We're live, so you can drop your bag here.
You know why these guys are, they are arrogantly gaslighting people because the country did not erupt into violence. That criminality
Okay,
is
suppressing
the
No, just go.
in other
Hold on.
countries, the people will not take it. And they have mind to be saying this. People didn't take it.
I'm telling you.
You hold on to transmission. They say, oh,
That's good. That's good.
all I said. Even though they were using the
So may we know you, brother?
My name is UC Maxwell.
UC Maxwell. For those of you who do not know him, is one of those violent spacers on the Twitter street, now X. UC Maxwell, you're welcome to Ginger Media.
Thank you very much.
Can you tell us the minds of young Nigerians that are on Twitter spaces? You know, the ones that their voices are not being heard, but here at the Supreme Court of Nigeria, you represent them, and can you kindly speak their mind?
Okay. Well, I believe that I will not just be speaking the minds of those who are on Twitter spaces alone. I'll be speaking the mind of a lot of young Nigerians out there, or the ones that do not have money anymore to afford data to even come on Twitter spaces. You see, there is a problem within the Nigerian political space within the Nigerian judicial space and the Nigerian leadership space, because these three spaces have an issue currently that a person whom a majority of people did not vote for have been selected and put in the place of position. Not only that, the people did not vote for this person has been, caught in the web of several criminalities, corruption, and disqualifications under the provisions of the law. So the minds of youths around the world, around Nigeria, is just one and the same, that we do not want a person who has been disqualified by the provisions of the law to hold political office. We don't want people who, are certificate forgers. Of course, evidences show, documents show that the certificates that Bola Tinubu presented to INEC was forged when you go through the Chicago State University deposition, which Atiku got from America, and several other documents. So it's just one statement. We don't want a certificate forger. We don't want a person with so much baggage having forfeited or having been fined $460,000 as fine for narcotic trafficking and money laundering. So that's what it is, and it's unfortunate that a lot of these youths cannot even have their voices heard anymore, because when they have the opportunity to even speak up, they are being clamped down on by security operatives, the police, the DSS, the military, treated, in several ways that are unconstitutional and violate their fundamental rights.
So, you see, Maswell, if by any chance the Supreme Court upholds the decision made by the appeal court, as a young Nigerian, understanding what the younger Nigerians think, what do you think will be the next step for them to take?
Well, first, it was preposterous for the Court of Appeal to have even issued that judgment in the first place. I called the judgment a deliberate, careless, and perverse judgment. That is the term I call it, because the judgment does not even fall within the ambit of the law. The law is very clear. Section 137 sub 1 paragraph J, Section 137 sub 1 paragraph D, and several other provisions. And the fact that INEC, of course, failed to even stick to their rules of engagement. So it was already a sorry state for Nigeria that the Court of Appeal upheld that election. And then we are here waiting for the Supreme Court judgment. But I want to say categorically and unequivocally that if the Supreme Court goes into the business of the day and affirms that judgment, it will be an abuse on democracy, because the very fundamentals of a democratic society is that the people have the power to decide who should rule them. The election, the result that was announced by that election, is not the will of the people. So you are defeating the very fundamentals of democracy if the Supreme Court upholds, that election. And I want to say that going forward, the youths would have been given a legal privilege or a legal backing to go into the business of forgery, submit forged documents, and vie for political offices. We have people who are undergoing several criminal sentences before the court, who are in prison and the rest. It means that when they come out someday, they would have the leverage to come and compete with people who have, held themselves to high esteem in character and in conscience, to lead the country, Nigeria. So if the Supreme Court upholds that judgment, they're only inviting anarchy to Nigeria.
Now, many also have argued, like you slightly pointed out now, that in the case of Mesoma, who is also a youth, that, at some point she was punished swiftly. But in this case, it appears that the punishment as to regards to certificate forgery is left for only the court to do. But you recall that in the case of Evans and Werem, the former Senate president, his own action was swift and he didn't go to court, or he was not prosecuted in court. The Senate then did justice. So what do you think is preventing this case from proceeding the way many Nigerians would think it should?
First, it is rather unfortunate that the person in question, Bola Tinubu, has not resigned from office. You could remember in 1999 the case of Salisu Buhari, where he was found to have falsified documents. or to have forged documents. He simply resigned, and he faced the wrath of the law. It's unfortunate that we now have different strokes for different folks when it comes to the law. That you need to treat Mesoma differently than you would treat Bola Tinubu. For a person like Mesoma, the National Assembly was very swift to set up a panel or a committee. She was immediately, the Anambra State government did a lot of things to see that that case was dispensed with. And you would agree with me that without going to court, the entirety or the generality of people called Mesoma a forger of documents without a court pronouncement. So I even feel worried that people are afraid to call this even to call it a case of forgery. If you can call Mesoma's own, a forged case, why can't you call Bola Tinubu? So it's unfortunate that we now have different measures in Nigeria. Bola Tinubu is not different from every other well-meaning Nigerian out there. We all share the same rights. In fact, the immunity which he may enjoy today is not on him, but on the office of presidency. So even the day he steps out of that place, the immunity goes up. So there's no special status that Bola Tinubu, enjoys. Whatever has been used, whatever is the measure of justice that has been used for every other case, Evans Ewere, Mesoma, Salisu Buhari, the former or the man who was about to be sworn in as deputy governor of Bayelsa State, and several others. Even you remember the case of Uche Wonsu in 2019, which is even still before the Supreme Court today. So these are the issues, and Bola Tinubu must be treated in the same manner like all these other people.
Thank you very much. We will keep speaking to many of you as this case progresses. Thank you very much once more, Yusuf Maswa.
Thank you.
Megidani.
How far?
I do.
How you doing now?
I do.
Well done.
So, okay. So, people, those of you watching us live, will beckon on you to share, like, and subscribe to this platform. We now have the Labour Party presidential campaign spokesperson in the person of Dr. Unisa Tanko here. Dr. Tanko, welcome to Ninja Media TV.
Thank you very much for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. You are in court now. I thought your name should be in the list, right? Or you didn't make the list as well?
Oh, well, the issue of list doesn't really matter for me. I'm a media person. I'm a ground man, so I'm outside to deal with the media.
You are somebody of the streets, and you are made of the streets.
Yes.
And we're not surprised to see you among us in the streets.
Oh, that's right.
Aluta continua.
Victoria Sata.
Now we are here, Dr. Tanko. What's your impression of what is going on here today?
Well, for once, I am actually flabbergasted that we are in a situation of a state capture, because what you are seeing here is that the security is heavy, and the restriction is being made on certain number of persons, which of course do not give opportunity for people to view and hear exactly what the discussions will be in the Supreme Court. I found it amazing in the democratic setting where people will be kind of really denied the opportunity and access of actually viewing exactly what's going on in the Supreme Court. I thought by now we will have gone beyond this, where we are even talking about having a public hearing where people can easily view this particular issue, because it's a state matter that affects every Nigerian. And so I thought that this is a big opportunity for us to have opened this particular view. But I felt very, very sad that we have been stigmatized and denied the opportunity. Even the press is being denied the opportunity of being inside. That is absurd.
We must create news no matter what. So even if as we are denied access in getting into the Supreme Court, but here we are telling Nigerians, the minds of Nigerians who made their way in courts today. Now, aside the Labour Party case that made you attend this court today, do you think, as a Nigerian, now not wearing the toga of Labour Party, but now as a patriotic Nigerian, do you think that justice will be given by the Supreme Court?
I am only hopeful. But coming by the antecedent of what has happened over the years, it becomes very difficult for me to be satisfied or static and say this is exactly what's going on. But I am hopeful that God in his infinite mercy will breathe in the minds of the judiciary to be strong enough and be courageous enough
to do justice, considering the fact that we have challenged the Presidential Electoral Commission court as regard to what they adjudicate and they pronounce, because we find it very, very unbelievable, where we, as a member of Nigeria and Nigerian Labour Party, brought in documents, certified true copy from the Independent Electoral Commission. We now tender them close to about 8,800 and something, and we presented them. But the court is now saying that that particular document that we presented, which INEC did not deny, is saying that that particular document was fabricated by us. This is certified true copy. It's unbelievable. And I find it difficult to find out that if a court of this particular magnitude of 5 judges could make this particular, it gives you a lot of questions on the integrity of our judiciary. But all hope is not lost. That is why I'm having hope that probably the Supreme Court may reverse this particular position in which they have taken in the first place.
Now, there is a case of certificate forgery, and you are aware what has happened with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who, took a case and subpoenaed the Chicago State University to make presentations. Do you think, considering what happened during the time of former Senate President Evans Enwerem, where he was accused of forgery and perjury, that case, beyond what the Supreme Court decide, do you not think that Nigerians will be demanding that, irrespective of the outcome of what happens here today, that the case of forgery should not stand?
You know what is more appalling and more unacceptable to me about this particular matter is the simple fact that honor and integrity has been put to the dustbin. I give an example. Salisu Buhari, the 7th Speaker of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, at the age of I think 25 or so, was a speaker. He was accused of the same issue, but Salisu Buhari took the path of honor and resigned, even crying to the Nigerian people. But it seems to me, in this particular situation, these particular individuals are not interested in honor and integrity at all. They are ready to rope everybody in. It is very, very clear that it's an issue of certificate forgery. Because I listen to people on different strata who are giving narrative to this particular issue. The narrative is simple. Somebody who have not gone to primary school and secondary school, and he has not shown to any affidavit of the reason why he did not go to this particular school, become a university candidate student. And at the same time, when he became a university student, under questionable position, he was adjourned to have graduated. When he graduated, where is the certificate in which he graduated? Nobody can tell you. And then he created a document on his own and submitted to the Independent Electoral Commission. That is the matter. The document that was submitted to the Independent Electoral Commission was denied by the same university that he had claimed to have been to. And that, of course, is that the question is that who gave him the certificate in which he presented? That is clearly the issue of forgery and perjury, which he has also sworn on oath that those are the document from his university. I mean, it is very, very clear.
Even beyond that, the secondary school, I think the government, federal government college,
he said he graduated,
whatever,
going to
that
did not even
4 years before.
They did not even exist before he graduated.
So, I mean, there is a lot of grounds. Now, just opposing that to the JAM forger, Mmesoma Chukwu, who, took JAM, had a very good result that would take her in any course of her choice, but forged another result to say that she was then the highest scorer. Now, if you take that into consideration, considering that Bola Tinubu, some argue that he was in America as a female, but graduated as a male, but it's a different plank on his own. Taking that and just opposing the two, let's, for argument's sake, clerical error, he got admission. Let's, for argument's sake, he misplaced his certificate. Now he went in to create one for him. Isn't that the same thing? Mmesoma, who also sat for JAM, scored JAM, but forged the final result that she submitted to Innocent, right? Isn't that a case of clear forgery that one must demand?
In this particular case, is forgery plus one, because in our own case, it's a different case. She went to primary school, she went to secondary school. It was writing JAM that she presented a result. In this case, there was no primary school, there was no secondary school.
We only have a certificate that is forged for a university. And here, of course, I will also say that particular university should be questioned because their integrity is in question and it rubbed into the United States of America, which is a big. So in this case, it is actually forgery, perjury plus one, different from her own. It's even worse than her own because she has gone to primary school. I will ask if there are facts from anybody, please, Bola Ahmed Tinubu should present his primary school certificate and secondary school certificate. Peter Obi has done so. Atiku Abubakar has done so, and let him present his own so that we can clear this issue.
But let's play the devil's advocate here.
Yes.
There are some people who actually argue, does it matter to go to a university to even be successful as a leader? Some had made that case, especially from the APC camp, citing the case of Winston Churchill,
Yes.
who didn't have a formal education. Even your principal, Peter
Yes.
B, has once made that case.
Correct.
And eventually ended up becoming a great leader.
Yeah.
And the question is, does Nigeria actually need a leader that has university certificate in order to be led aright?
The truth about it is that if it is the law provided, you have to follow it. If it's not the law, then you don't need it. But the law in the country has said that you don't even need a university certificate. You only need your primary school certificate.
And you don't need to pass.
You
just
don't even need
to
to just the primary school. That was the position of the law. And once the law has been established, all you need to do is follow the law. Present your primary school certificate, and it is done and dusted. So for whether it's in Churchill or any other person, possibly it is their own position of law. And even then, they came clean. They didn't hide. They said what they are. They openly said that they didn't go to school, but they had the capacity to rule. And then they presented themselves for the people, and the people elect them. So if our people or our leaders can't follow our position of our law, it's simple and short. We don't need any hula baloo on this particular matter. The law is the law, and it must be followed.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tanko Yanusa.
Thank you very much.
Spokesperson, Obidati Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
It's always a pleasure listening to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, everyone, we just finished speaking to Tanko Yanusa. As you know, he is the spokesperson of the Labour Party, right? So, guys, like I said to us before, and this is Mazes okay here. We are here live. We are doing our utmost best to ensure that we'll bring you and we'll keep giving you updates. This is the Supreme Court of Nigeria, live here in Abuja, and we would keep, doing that which we know how to do best. People, giving you updates. Okay, so we are giving you this update live from the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Now you just spoke to Tanko Yanusa, and Tanko Yanusa is the spokesperson for the Obi Dati campaign. So, having said that, we are waiting. It is now a waiting game. It is some minutes to 10 o'clock in the morning hours here in Abuja. We will keep waiting. Now, so those of you joining us, we have over 600 people watching, and please can you like and share? Over 600 people are with us now live here in Abuja. Can you please like, share, and let others know what is happening? We are doing our best to bring you this update here in Abuja. And I think if you check across the internet, we believe that Ginger Media is the only TV platform that is live here in Abuja, right? So I think at this moment, I might have to take some of your comments. And if you have any question, so we can take some of your comments. So 602 people on YouTube, please, by all means, do put your comment across. Let's take some of your comments, and please, I would want to say to all of us, let us be guided by the utterances
that we make.
And some of you who are liking the video, yeah, I can see some love. You guys are showing some love. You're thanking Tanko Yanuta for a well done job. So what I may have to do now is probably we may have to take a break. Please stay with us here at Ngenji Media TV. Just a short break. We will, this stream, we will end this stream. We will start another stream. But just be with us. Give us a couple of minutes. We will come back to you. Okay. So let's get someone else. Hello, sir. Can you come to us, please? Okay. So join us. We are live on Ginger Media TV. So up to the camera here, we want to meet you and know who you are, sir.
My name is Gerald. Gerald Okes here.
Okay. So at the Supreme Court today,
That's right.
what's your view as to the expectations of Nigeria? Do you think Nigerians may get justice from this court here today?
Well, I am hopeful, very hopeful. Even if the opinion down there is that nobody has ever won against the incumbents, even if that's the opinion. But that's always the first time.
Yes.
That is always the first time. The judges, the justices, they look at the matter presented to them objectively, bearing in mind that the life of over 200 and something million Nigeria and the generations to come is involved. If they look at it objectively and take decisions based on it without going through unnecessary technicalities and suppressing the matter like they did in the appeal court, because I was at the tribunal almost through the proceedings and I heard and saw the evidences provided. As far as I am concerned, I told folks that the only way that the judgment will go otherwise is if the constitution of Nigeria is torn into pieces, and which was what happened. Because when they did that, they suppressed. I didn't hear them. All they did was smartly brought issues to blame the lawyers of the appellant, to blame the lawyers for not presenting the case properly, which is not true. It is not true. I was at the court. The case, okay, for example, tell me this. They said that these fellows brought evidence. They brought evidence which would have no witnesses to prove the matter. Tell me how it is that you go to the IREV, extract evidence from the IREV, what the INEC already had decided was the issue. They accepted it and imputed it into the IREV. The Labour Party went to the IREV and extracted this and gave to them. Do you still require anybody to come and testify on evidence that was extracted from the IREV? You don't. But now I tell you about this evidence in the event that you don't understand. 8-point-something million votes were avoided. It was voted by the INEC.
No, is it? I think it's unreadable was about cumulatively about 2-point-something million.
I'm talking about the votes on voided votes. 8-point-something million votes voided. And the rule is, if the voided votes can make difference between the winner and the runner-up, or whoever is in that very place, then there should be a rerun. And by the way, again, because it appears a lot of people don't know the difference between a rerun and a runoff. A runoff is when you have a credible election that's inconclusive. Then you can have a runoff between the winner
and the second.
But when you have a bad election that's totally voided, when you have a rerun means that everybody involved in that election
contest, yeah.
And in this event, that singular evidence, I don't see anything that can void that evidence this fellow brought. I don't see anything because it was extracted from IF, which means it's been concluded and certified by INEC. You do not need any other fellow to come and stand and testify on it.
Now,
The
let me take you a little bit to the case of the current person at the helm of affairs, that is Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There is a case of forgery hanging around him. There is a case of not knowing his real the real date of birth. There is a case of the university he attended, and whether he printed his own result or he used, in their way now, third party vendor to print his own result. In all this commotion and confusion surrounding him, one man, so many controversies. What do you think about the whole issue?
well, the XYZ of the issue of the CSU at Chicago State University is that if what Bola Tinubu submitted to INEC wasn't issued by the CSU, agreed, that could be a vendor. You could generate a certificate from a vendor if that is what the rule is. But I don't see any rule that will say that a signature on a paper, a certificate, should not emanate from the school. Even if you generate it from a vendor cannot sign on the behalf of the school if the signature in that very place is not real. The school did not issue the certificate, and the signature on the certificate
Yeah, normally,
is not from the
normally
school.
when you can, if you're a secretary, you can sign on behalf of your boss.
If it is
But it has to be,
anybody,
it has to
it
be
has to be
written.
an authority from that school that will sign that thing. If it is not the authority from CSU that signed that thing is false. And we are talking about the highest office in Nigeria, the most exalted office. Apart from being the most exalted office, we have the life of 200 million Nigerians and the generation coming tied to this thing. You understand? So we shouldn't be frivolous with this. We should not be frivolous. I don't belong to any particular party. I'm an obedient. Yes, obedient. Obedience does not generally necessarily belong to Labour Party. Obedience simply means people who want good governance in Nigeria, who have found expression in Peter Obi, who have found expression in Peter Obi. It could be any other person. You understand? I made effort to start running for that election. But when I saw how the youth of Nigeria can besiege Peter Obi now to represent them, I decided, let's flow with the youth.
Oh, you wanted to run for the
Of course, I wanted that.
and which party?
That's matter for another day.
Okay.
You understand? That's matter for another day. Then we are talking about the issue of proper. How is it that black man cannot govern himself? How is it that black? Because this is what the people are demonstrating. That black man cannot. You cannot do anything and do it proper. You cannot. You see these three institutions. You see the INEC. The INEC is strangulating Nigeria. Really, and that is what people don't understand. INEC is strangulating Nigeria. How about the DSS and intelligence agencies? How come they cannot vet through certificates before people submit this certificate?
Even the screening committee of political parties.
The screening, leave the screening from the parties, because the parties can always do whatever it is they want to do to get away. The intelligence organization should be able to go through every fellow. In America and in every other country, there is no way anybody is coming to contest election without being properly vetted by intelligence organization. I remember John, what's the name of this guy in America? He was only found in his yacht with a woman, the monkey business, that was what I remember the name. That was only, he was touted as the next president of America from the Democrats because of infidelity. That was why he did it. You have a whole lot of allegations. If it is proven that this man presented a certificate that he attended a secondary school and graduated before the secondary school was built, and you went to, and for goodness sake, let me just even tell you about this CSU issue, in case people are making mistake. In that certificate, in that paper that went to CSU, that you have female there. I schooled overseas. I came back from over. There's no way the white man can keep in his in his in his in his documentary keep something for like a stretch of 5 years without being able to find out the mistakes in it and correct it.
Where they say he's female. I mean, many
Where
of
they say it's female,
hold on,
it's not.
many of us studied that.
Yes,
in my own case, my first name is Tochuku with double O, with single O.
that's right.
In one of my applications to the German embassy, they flagged it up in one of my certificates that says Tochuku, which is an Igbo dialectical spelling, double O. But it was corrected with an affidavit. Immediately it was flagged up. So now how can someone who you have seen that your gender was changed into a female, wasn't properly written, and that was not correct?
There's no way that school will bring a false gender to CSU. Whatever it was, they took to CSU was in their record. What was in their record, and that record is true. So there's no way anybody will say it's a mistake that the school sent a false document to. And for how long this man schooled in that place, he wasn't able to change it. To the extent that even till now we are talking about this thing, that is still read female gender. It's not possible.
Well, on a lighter note, many Nigerians have actually argued that to the he went to America as a female and came back as a male. So hold on, I think one of our friends here, UC Maxwell, is being accosted by the police. We want to understand what is happening because justice must be done. Is an obedient. Sorry, that's a UC Maxwell, the young man I just spoke to before. We cannot allow them intimidate us here. Thank you.
It hasn't gotten to the point of intervention anyway.
Well, it's not so the take start, but we need to. I think trying to take him to their car because we need to be very, very sure. We cannot allow anything untoward to happen to him now.
All right, thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the interview.
All right.
So what's happening with UC Maxwell? What's happened to UC Maxwell? Morning.
Morning.
Diane.
Ndewo ka ije.
I know live. Please. Everybody be waiting. You don't come back just now. How you doing? I let them delete the picture.
Very well, sir. Good morning, sir. How are you, sir?
What's it about?
So,
The names.
I have to wait after the fight has been released. That I should have brought it on Friday. That they only worked with, they came in the morning and they worked with what they knew was going on.
Yes, sir.
Collect it.
So, just don't worry. Let's. Sorry, we move here. So we're live. No, my camera is here. So obedient and I have here with me the former.
How are you?
Sorry, we are live, Kennedy. Don't worry. So yes, sorry. We are live here with Chief Valentine Ozibo. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You know, I have before now seen Oselo Koba's Ambassador Keshi and a couple of others. And nice to see you. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
I understand it's been a long day for you.
Flew from the US to Lagos yesterday and this morning to Abuja to be here.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And, here we are at the Supreme Court. There appears to be a commotion in terms of the accreditation, who is allowed to come in and who is not allowed to come in. Many Nigerians have actually, the people who've spoken before now, saying that it ought not to be, that it should be a free place for Nigerians to come in and do, basically expose to the world how justice is given. But it appears it's been guarded and something that it is not right. What's your view?
Obviously, it's not right. This started even from the presidential appeal panel when we were going to the Court of Appeal, and they were, basically rationalizing number of people that were allowed
Allowed,
in.
yeah.
But over time, they relaxed, and people were able to go in. Today is even worse than that. What we are being told, there are only 5 people from our own party being allowed in. Obviously, that is totally unacceptable. And we're going to be here until we're allowed to go in. Because, like we always say, this country belongs to every single one of us. We are a principal. Even though the lawyers are there are important, we are the employers of the lawyers. And so we must be fully represented to see, so we can look at each other eyeball to eyeball and be sure that justice is eventually going to be done. For us, we need to move away from this whole thing about technicality and about state capture. Allow Nigerian citizens to have their day, because citizens' power is the single most potent and powerful power in this country, and that's what we must be allowed to be exercised.
Now, without diving into prejudice here, the case is ongoing as we speak. Uh, we've seen Ribadu, Ganduje, Femi Pachabiamila from the side of the APC. They're all in there now. What, as a Nigerian now, not as a Labour Party chieftain, what do you expect the judiciary, especially the Supreme Court, to do that will amount to justice in your view?
For me, it's very simple. Follow the law, follow the constitution, follow the Electoral Act, and do the needful. The provisions are very clear. You've already interpreted some of the provisions in the past. Be consistent and don't prevaricate and don't bring in technicality. Look at what will be there for posterity to judge all of us. What would you do that the civilized Nigerians, I don't want to use the word ordinary Nigerians, so that we don't talk about people who don't know, people who know would understand that you've been meticulous about propagating the cause of justice. That's what we're asking for. Because what the Supreme Court would do in this process will be a game changer in this country. I read an article by a young man who is in school, who is saying that they're all waiting to know what the Supreme Court will say. If, for instance, it has been established that there is forgery, would you say it's okay to forge? Then the students don't need to be in school anymore.
There are
You can
consequences.
just go ahead and be forging, and we move on with that. If you establish that there is not, tell us. But if there is, the consequences are very clear. Let's face those consequences. Justice does not is blind. Doesn't care about who is involved. The fact that you may be president or otherwise or governor is irrelevant. Whether you're chief of staff or NSA, it's totally irrelevant. Justice is about doing the right thing based on the evidences before you, based on precedences you've given in the past, based on other reasons that you can articulate. There is not just really answering from going from answer to the question. You're already biased, you want to push an agenda, and you come back to start looking for who and how to get into that agenda. No, no, no. Supreme Court is the last court of the land, and it's important that the integrity of the process and the judiciary is kept at bay.
And it appears to be a conflict in the Supreme Court where some chief justices, I believe two of them 2 days ago, recused themselves as well.
Some Supreme Court
Some
justices.
Supreme Court justices. So initially they were meant to be 7, right? And one of them, the son, is an APC member, and I've seen a statement from Labour Party demanding that that justice should recuse herself. Then the other is going to be retiring on the 27th, which is in less than a week's time. So, and coupled with the two that recused themselves. Now, looking at all this, do you, in your considered opinion, think that the judges are afraid of the consequences that may come out of the judgment that is expected from the Supreme Court here?
I've read a lot of positions on this issue. The truth of the matter is that this boils down to courage, nothing more than that. They just know the direction. Everybody in Nigeria will understand the direction. It's that crystal clear. It's about courage. Who is courageous enough to do the right thing? So, obviously, I can't speak for those who are accusing themselves. But on one hand, it could be that they can't withstand the pressure. On the other hand, it could be they're not courageous enough. Let them just be aside. You guys go finish up yourselves. As it is, my position is for those who remain on the panel, courage to do the needful. This country will not change until we are willing to sacrifice for it, including paying the supreme sacrifice, even our own lives. That's the only time you can change. Are you ready to sacrifice for the future of this country? It is worth sacrificing for. We're talking about lives of 200 million people and beyond. I am urging the Supreme Court justices be courageous enough
And
to
do the right thing.
dispense justice.
Now, before I let you go, you mentioned before that you're expecting the judiciary to, when you talked about forgery, to do the right thing. Can we take a step backwards? When Nigeria came into democracy, we had
I
the
can
Senate.
take a step backward.
Oh, that is literally taking a step backwards. So when we started the democracy in 1999, we had a case of certificate forgery. Salusi Mohammed, no, Salusi Abacha, all right? Oh no, Salusi Buhari, who forged certificate, the famous Toronto certificate forgery, and it was dealt with without judiciary. We have the case of Evans and when it was dealt with without judiciary. So the question then is, are we giving too much close and too much to the judiciary? Where is the Nigerian and the Nigerian legislators? Are they complicit in this? Isn't something that they can step in? Because some are arguing if the judiciary fails, that impeachment should be the next thing to do if we must not allow the nation to sink.
My dear brother, circumstances are changing and have changed in Nigeria. Some of us, if you listen to Professor Tommy, you will hear always him talk about state capture. We have been captured. The only power that is left, if the Supreme Court does the wrong thing, the only power that's left is citizen power. I am not expecting the legislator or any other thing to happen if the wrong thing is done. But I'm wishing, I'm hoping that we don't get to that citizen's power where we all have to march the streets. Let the Supreme Court do the needful and let's make progress as a country. Rule of law is the single most important index for development. It is the biggest of the intangibles. That's what divides. If I need to go into business with you, and I feel that if I part my money, you may not part the goods with me, or there are there are issue conflicts, and we are all going to head to Nigerian courts, and we have lost confidence in the courts. That business can happen.
Yes.
You know the implication. Everything
Falls
from
apart.
the GDP to the jobs, all of that will not be created, and that's why today naira is at 1,100 and beyond. It might even be worse than Zimbabwe's case, because confidence is eroding. Until we correct this,
And the only way you can deal with it is rule of law. So I am appealing to the Supreme Court justices, do the needful, without caring who's out is God. Let's just make sure we do the right thing because the whole world is watching. Nigerians are watching, and I don't know how to beg further because I know the implication. I don't want this country to go the way of Somalia and Sudan and co. It is going to be unfortunate if just a few people whose responsibility it is to take us out of this derailment, unable to do so, we get ourselves involved in something we can't control anymore. It is going to be of dire consequence. And the best thing for us to do is to keep appealing and urging for them to summon enough courage to do the needful. That's all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chief Valentine.
God bless you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. So, people, you've heard it from him. His expectation is that the Supreme Court should do the right thing. You know, he's not demanding so much. He's basically demanding things, the same thing you and I, Nigerians across the globe, are demanding. Let's do the right thing. On this note, people, I think we would go on a break and we would have our batteries, human batteries charged, device batteries charged. But I want every one of us to, stay here. Obviously, the only platform that is streaming this live from the Supreme Court. So you have to wait. Let's just charge batteries. Then you charge your credit card as well, because once we come back, we expect everyone to also charge us back. We are here. We'll not go anywhere. Now, peace out. It's your time. Okay, come on. I greet you, Jeff. How you doing? These violent spacers, violent people. Hold on, let me see. Is the mic on? Yeah. So excellent, young man. You look nice.
Thank you.
So what's your take of what is happening here? Start by introduction. Who are we speaking to? I know who you are. You're a troublemaker in the Twitter space now, X space.
I'm not a troublemaker.
You're a troublemaker indeed. I'm wondering why your name is not in the DSS list.
I know, you know how they dealt with me while we are at the appeal courts. Anyway, I must tell you that I feel disappointed this morning, just like every other Nigerian I've actually interacted with this morning. Coming into this place is supposed to be the people's house. It's supposed to be where Nigerians are supposed to come and not only get justice, but see justice in motion. So coming this morning, people travel from far and near. People came from Lagos. I've spoken with people who said they came from Kogi, people who said they came from Kaduna, people who said they came from Kanu, just to witness this case, and they were told that they can't have access to the court. In fact, I saw a barrister who said they asked him which party he belonged to. So that is just unfortunate. And the man told him it's not a partisan, it's just a Nigerian, a patriotic Nigerian who just want to. So if lawyers who ordinarily should be the owners of this place are not allowed to go into the court, then you know that there's a problem. So that is what we continue to see, witness in every aspect of our national life. So it's unfortunate. So I'm not happy.
You are not happy. So finally, obviously you are from the constituents of the street, especially the digital street, as I call it. What is the message from your constituents, the street constituents, to the Supreme Court?
Yeah, a lot of us that I represent, a lot of people that cannot come here, and so most of Nigerians, especially even Nigerians at home and Nigerians in diaspora, they actually rely on us. Some of us who should have access to the court, who are on ground, to give them feedback so that as Nigerians they can actually follow the proceedings. But unfortunately, I'm not allowed, to get into the court. And there's this saying that the Supreme Court that is saying that the Supreme Court is a court of public policy.
and public policy in the sense that whatever that the Supreme Court does, whatever they say, whatever judgment, whatever is their body, it becomes a law, it becomes law, it becomes a trend, it becomes something that people will actually follow. So the Supreme Court is a place where whatever thing they do, they should actually think it through, and start to think what will be the reaction, what will be the effect, on the overall populace, on the citizens. How would the citizens see? Because if a country loses its hope on the highest court of the land, then there'll be chaos, there'll be anarchy, there'll be disaster, because that is the place the ordinary man, is supposed to get justice. So I'm not happy, being here this morning, especially the people I represent, whether it's the violent space, whether it's the power facts, whether it's the 1 million man group, whether if the Obidati movement, whether if all Nigerians who actually poured out the election, they voted with everything that they've got, and even when the election was rigged, in their estimation, they actually said they are going to go to court, and they've been maintaining law and order. They've been abiding with the rules, not making, somebody told me, because I was asking how were the obedient movement able, to calm down, who calmed them down, how were able to control, the agitations, people who ordinarily would have poured on the streets. And the man told me that it is not, just on the obedient, because of the principle, the person that all of us are following. He's a very peaceful man, and he doesn't like chaos, he doesn't like anarchy, unlike the other people. But I think they are taking his leniency, as being as cowardice for a long time. And I think if this thing continue, I think one day Nigerians will take laws into their hands
Now,
and get justice for themselves.
so finally, before I let you go, people are demanding that they want to see UC Maswell to see that he's well. I'll bring him back. But before I let you go, what will be the reaction of the digital streets if they consider that they have not gotten justice?
Yes, that is what the point I was making. That is the fear. I think every institution every institution continue to take the Nigerian people for granted. For a long time, Nigerian people have not actually reacted. They have not actually taken their place, because it is the citizens that is, the custodian, the owners of the country. And I keep saying that if the court of justice, if the Supreme Court cannot give justice, then the Nigerian people should constitute themselves as courts, as the Supreme Court, and give themselves judgment. And I'm thinking at this point, I think that is the only option that is left for Nigerian people to give themselves justice. And I fear when that day will come, because the day that day come, nobody will be spared. Whether it's the DSS, whether it's the court of the justices, whether it's barrister, whether it's the army, nobody will be spared, and that is very dangerous. Nigeria is a country of 250 million people. They cannot continue to take us for granted. Nigerian people will react one day. They will rise one day, and that day is coming. And it is because of this kind of impunity, that will make Nigeria. So I pray. I don't pray it happens. I don't pray it happens, but it will happen, because it's becoming clear, that this country, that what we're expressing now is state capture. There is the fear among Nigerians that because this court is actually situated at the villa, because it's in the villa that it will have undue influence. And when you come into the court and see this kind of thing happen, such speculation by Nigerians, people will begin to see it as true, because when they come, the experience is important. You can imagine a lot of people came here this morning and they were not allowed. Does that not actually make that speculation to be true? That because this court is in the villa, and that is why Nigerians are saying that after election, that nobody should be sworn in until all the cases are seen through and judgment is given on all the on the merit of all the before somebody be sworn, because it's always the case now that immediately the executive is sworn in, they take undue advantage, they influence, they intimidate the justices, and justices will only do their bidding. So thank you so much. My name remains Real Ever Best. My name remains Kennedy. My Twitter handle is Real Ever Best. So I hope that this is UC Master, my legal juggernaut. So how are you feeling this morning?
My brother, I'm feeling very fine.
Okay. Don't worry. We'll get it better one day.
Of course.
And if they don't want us to get it better, we'll take our country, by force. So thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you very much, Real Ever Best. Now, on popular demand, we have to bring in UC Maswell back, right? On popular demand, we have to bring him back, because we saw an altercation between UC Maswell and the Secret Service over there. So UC Maswell, the people, over 1,000 Nigerians watching online now are saying what basically happened Why were you accosted by the security services over there?
Okay, I am overwhelmed by the concern. Even while it was still going on there, I began to receive calls, and I was actually shocked. I was surprised that
Because over 1,000 Nigerians are
I
watching
was
it
very, very
happen.
surprised. While I was still with them there, I began to receive a lot of calls. It's unfortunate that we are seeing what is called a calculated oppression against the people. So we have security operatives who are not known to Nigerians, so they can intimidate you and go free, and you cannot track them, and you cannot, nothing. So when we were doing an interview of Mr. Unisa Tanko when he was addressing the press. So I also did a video of that place where he was addressing the press. So when I stepped out to meet with my friend Sarah Ibrahim, as I was there with her, a DSS operative accosted me and told me that why am I taking pictures? And I said, taking which pictures? He asked to see my phone. I showed him the phone. So he saw that video of Unisa Tanko. And then, Unisa Tanko was standing here.
Yeah.
And their van is being showed behind.
Yes.
So he was asking me that why am I taking a video of security operatives? And I say I was doing an interview and all that. They took me to the side of their van.
And that's the van that just got out.
Yes. They took me to the side of the van and told me that they were going to format my phone.
What?
Because I took a video of Yunus Atalko addressing the press. He told me he was going to format my phone.
But we are here, so they should have taken our cameras as well.
I don't. It's the oppression. So they started deleting pictures from my phone. In fact, they deleted my personal picture. And he made a statement to me that he was going to punish me by deleting even my personal pictures and videos. So it's unfortunate that this is what we see in Nigeria. While he was doing that, he told me to go to one of the vans and sit down at the back. Well, this is where we are.
But
I took back my phone, and
that is the power of the media. And that is, because while that was ongoing, thousands of Nigerians were watching it, hence the calls you received, and hence the demand for them to see you back again to know that you are fine before they hit the street.
Of course, I really want to appreciate everybody out there. And this is why I like to emphasize that everything we do out here on the media is very, very important for us to put it out there. Seriously speaking, I was surprised when I started receiving a lot of calls. I was like, who is already aware of what is going on? So I want to say thank you to everybody who cared to ask. I am doing fine. I am hale and hearty. Nobody slapped me. Nobody hit me or anything. They only deleted my pictures and my videos. So that is what it was.
So this, these two people we see here. In fact, I think I call them the two domestic terrorists we have in the, pardon me, but this is what I call them because they cause a lot of violence on the violent space and on the parallel fact, these young men, if you do not follow them, Yusuf Maswell and Real Ever Best. These guys are real to the core and they spew it and they say it the way it is. Guys, kudos to what you do.
Thank you so much. You too. Well done.
We speak truth to power.
It's very important.
I think in this country, saying the truth is violence. For you to be able to have the boldness to say the truth, you become a terrorist because people don't say the truth. If you can't get the truth from the court system, the Supreme Court are intimidated.
If you must be committed to speaking the truth in Nigeria, you must be prepared for what is coming with it. Believe you me, when I left my house at about 6 a.m. this morning, I was prepared to be harassed. Trust me, we are fighting a system. Yes, embarrassed, thrown behind a van. We've seen it before, we've experienced it before. We are fighting a system that is seriously fighting back, and they have the apparatus of government to fight back. But we have ourselves, and believe you me, there is power in unity when we do it collectively. So thank you to everybody out there.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So we are now going to go on break. This is 2 hours non-stop streaming. Behind me here is my good brother, the Labour Party governorship candidate in Delta States. That's here with me, Mr. Kempela. I'm happy that you're once more back in the court to show solidarity to your party and to Nigeria for justice to prevail. What do you have to say?
Well, we
what happens today or what happens over the, after this process will determine where we're going to go as Nigeria. The truth of the matter is that while this is called the Supreme Court, the real Supreme Court is the people.
Is the people of Nigeria.
The
correct.
people of Nigeria are the real Supreme Court. And if the people of Nigeria decide that, well, what has been given to us, what has been served to us, let's take it, then that's what we are going to suffer.
Yes.
If the people of Nigeria decide that, no, we are not going to take it anymore, then it ends there. All right? If what has happened in the last 8 years and what's happened in the 6 months or so since this government was sworn in, if we are happy with it and we want to accept it, then good luck to us. But the truth of the matter is that then we should not complain. We should not complain. Whatever happens here, what is now left is the ultimate for the people to decide. All right, and I hope that the people will decide right.
So now if we move away from the Supreme Court now and come back to your state and to your case,
Yeah.
you won at the appeal in Abuja,
Yes.
and which stated clearly that you need to go back to the tribunal.
Yes.
So can you update the people now
Okay.
where you are with that case in Delta State to reclaiming your mandate as the governor of Delta State?
Okay. So we were told to go back to the tribunal. Now, natural justice, equity requires that if we are going back to that tribunal, it should be a fresh one. But they sent us back
To the
same
same judge panel.
to the same. Well, I understand that 2 of the judges were changed, but the chairman was the same. All right. So we got a very hostile process. We had 4 days within which to present our case. We did. We believe we presented a very good case, but again, our case was
dismissed again.
dismissed again. Was dismissed again. So we are back on appeal. We filed our appeal on Wednesday,
This Wednesday.
this last Wednesday. So we filed our appeal on Wednesday, and we're
Back at the
currently
appeal court in Abuja here.
yes, and we're currently compiling the records. So we are in another.
What are the
3
grounds
weeks.
of dismissal?
He wasn't far from what they did in the presidential.
Okay.
Okay, so subpoenaed witnesses were not accepted. They said we didn't prove our case, all sorts of things. All right, so we've gone on appeal. We have 12 grounds of appeal. I don't have them offhand, but we have 12 grounds of appeal, and we're hopeful that, of course, the appeal court and the Supreme Court were more reasonable last time. We are hopeful that that's what will happen again. We are hopeful that we'll have justice at the appeal court and eventually at the Supreme Court.
Okay. Thank you very much for speaking to us. We will be speaking more, to you, but let's for a moment we will go on break.
No problem.
So everyone, thank you very much. This is once Mama says okay. We are still at the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Like I said before, we will be going on break now. And please do not go away. Just go grab something to drink. Give us a couple of minutes. We will start a new, fresh stream. Now, in that stream, we'll have opportunity for you to use super chat and super stickers if you so wish. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Mazes, okay? Ginger Media TV International, reporting from the Supreme Court of Nigeria here in Abuja. On that note, I say, just let's get a little break. We'll be back.